for Dr. Lynda Lukasik, Environment Hamilton.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Wilson and members of the General Issues Committee for the opportunity to speak here today. As you know, my name is Lynda Lukasik. I'm the Executive Director of Environment Hamilton. And I want to start by saying Environment Hamilton is very proud to be part of the Just Recovery Hamilton Collective. We helped to compile and we strongly support the list of recommendations set out by the collective in the recent report, some of which I will speak to today. Well, coming out of the pandemic, all of us as residents of this city have so much to critically reflect on as we figure out how best to move forward. Do we simply return to business as usual, or do we focus on charting a new pathway forward? Do we work to build a new normal that considers our pandemic experiences, the existing and new community vulnerabilities the pandemic has cruelly amplified or caused, in the hope that we are collectively better prepared for the next crisis? And speaking of crises, do we need to view this as an essential opportunity to ramp up efforts to address the climate emergency? The answer I'm going to give you is that we must do all of the above and do it with urgency, as though a viable future for our city depends on it, because it really does. We must act now to build a sustainable, climate-resilient, inclusive Hamilton. And there's a growing collective of organizations coming together through Just Recovery Hamilton that is aligned on this very perspective. We're building a community movement across sectors to collectively work towards a future Hamilton that embodies these important outcomes. Well, Environment Hamilton believes that a focus on implementing actions around mitigation and adaptation to ready ourselves for the climate tsunami that is coming, if done right, will effectively address many of the core elements of what constitutes a just recovery, not only to recover from the pandemic, but to move us forward along the right pathway to a climate-resilient post-carbon future. And there are some key commitments with environmental implications that we believe need action sooner than later to get us there, and we urge Hamilton City Council to consider these elements very carefully now where budget-related allocations and decisions are concerned. And most, if not all, of these key commitments are wrapped up with how our city is evolving and growing, and with choices that all of you as city councillors will play a key role in making. And we have reached what is more than just a proverbial fork in the road. We have reached a key transition point where you will be making decisions that lock us into either a more or a less viable pathway forward as far as our journey to a post-carbon climate resilient future is concerned. So we are urging you to freeze the urban boundary, and we are actively mobilizing other Hamiltonians to add their voices to our call. We believe that the climate emergency warrants this, especially since this next decade is the crucial decade for reining in greenhouse gas emissions in communities across the globe in order to avoid catastrophic climate change. A firm urban boundary will provide the leverage the city needs to facilitate intensification within urban Hamilton, right from high density in the core to, quote, missing middle intensification along major arterial streets and in grayfield spaces like Eastgate Square, to gentle density through infill like second dwelling units within existing residential areas. Freezing the boundary is also a fiscal belt tightening exercise, because we know that more compact urban form that comes with building complete communities will save the city substantial tax dollars over time, while giving us a fighting chance to get to where we need to go on the climate resilience and community inclusivity side of things. And on the subject of post-pandemic shovel-ready projects, I'm going to say it, projects like the East-West LRT could serve as an integral part of building a post-carbon city, as higher order transit is a key piece required to ensure Hamilton succeeds with lower city urban intensification plans. So foundational pieces like these must then be combined with other policies and actions in order to make inclusive city building reality. And very quickly, these include increasing the range and affordability of housing options within the urban area, creating policy designed to ensure healthy, affordable housing for all, including ensuring we are building in a manner that prepares us for the extreme weather, heat, cold, rain that the climate crisis brings. Low, no carbon buildings like Passive House ensure affordability and comfort for all moving forward, and retrofitting existing housing and building stock using government incentives like low interest loans to do so is another important municipal policy piece that can help where help is needed most. And effective shifts to more complete communities must always come with street enhancements. And I won't go into these, Carl did a great job, but we need safe streets to encourage active transportation for people of all abilities. And finally, building complete communities means prioritizing investment in green infrastructure, and that covers a whole lot, from trees to green roofs, urban woodlots, native pollinator plant patches and fields. So moving forward, we need a bountiful urban forest canopy. We're calling for you to commit to 45%, equitably distributed across our city so that everyone benefits from the wonderful cooling of trees, and they provide some insulating in winter too.
Thank you, Dr. Lukasik.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. Are there any questions of the delegate? There are none. Lynda, always good to see you. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much.